Keep this really short. I am in the field of education now, but for the longest time, I went from standard route, engineering to MBA to then decided to do PhD. And one of the things that I struggled with a lot, wanting to do my own thing, is motivation. And our system doesn't really provide motivation. I have a lot of classmates doing all kinds of things all over the world, and when left to their own devices, like, oh, I'll make so much money and then open Biryani Junction. That doesn't work for most people. And that place fails. And one of the biggest differences that I saw as an educator, I when I was teaching at the college level, two of the most memorable students I had, and I was in touch with them for several years, but I've lost touch recently, and I'm still trying to reconnect. But they were products of lifelong Montessori's. So we had there was this girl who was the smartest kid in the, the strategy class. She was doing business and she was doing textile engineering. And this is an American girl who traveled to Vietnam and India and learned Tamil just so that she could work with sustainable textiles. And I'm like, where do you find the motivation to do five things and do them all well at the same time? And she explicitly said that it comes from her Montessori background. And that was my first, oh, so this is something really special. It gives you this motivation to do other things. So that was a big clue for us that we wanted to do something else. Now, when we came to India, the only knowledge I had was that the existing system, the existing schooling of CBSEs and ICSEs, for the most part, doesn't work. It doesn't provide you with that motivation. It's very good for you uh, to become, it's derogatory, but to become sheep in certain ways and excel at that. All of us, we went through that system. Let's compete, do better than the next person in your class. That doesn't make you the best at a particular thing. It makes you the best in your class. It doesn't make you the best in the world. It makes you best in a certain system, in a certain city at most. And I've seen a lot of kids struggle afterwards to do things that they want. We are heading to a time when a lot of these made up jobs will start disappearing. Software engineering is getting challenged. A lot of management is getting challenged. Everybody is talking about creativity. How does creativity come? Can you force your child to start writing new code or writing a book or whatever? Or they discover that they like the idea of writing and then they are willing to go around and learn everything. And that was the real motivator for me to experiment early on, but now certainly be much more certain about things like Montessori. Now, Nishant mentioned other systems like Waldorf. There are, if you go down south, there is the Krishnamurti Foundation, and there's several other systems. And everybody's saying, look, we have an alternate school and we're trying to do things differently. What's really different about Montessori is 100 years of research, 100 years of outcomes. We use this toy, which is so complicated, and we teach it in this way because we know what happens 15 years down the line with that. The other systems, they may be brilliant, they don't have that research behind. So there is a reason that a lot of schools around the world are actually adapting Montessori to their cultural environment. We are still in the process of doing that. But so far, of all the different models that we've studied, as a family, my wife and I, we believe this is something which really works for our daughter. The instantiation could be different. So some teachers and schools and setups might do it better than others and so on. But we definitely see value in saying that system doesn't work. We can't do that. So जानबूझ के गलती नहीं कर सकते. And this system is something we are trying. And so far, it's producing good results. And I'm lucky enough to have seen if it works really well, so 10 years mein kya hoga. And so that was our reason for coming in. We are very certain of staying within the alternate school system as opposed to going back. And so far, Montessori has been kind of uh, paying us back in terms of what the child learns. And that's kind of the gist of my experiences. I don't know.
So I'm Gaurav. I'm father of Urshita. She's 10 years old. She has been in this Montessori system for last 7+ years. She has been a throughout Montessori girl. Um, We started with how it got triggered was like we got aware about this concept. In fact, first she enrolled into a school that was a Waldorf and Montessori mixture. We didn't, it didn't click. So then we moved her to another school, and that's where we really saw the advantage of Montessori, and she was very quickly adapted to that environment. And then fortunately, when we came back here, Niti and Nishant have set it up for us. We are very fortunate to have it in Delhi and Noida. I think this is the only authentic environment here, which is very important because we went around and to other places where people have material, but they don't share the material with you, right? It is more of a showcase or whatever it is. So, anyways, like the point I was trying to make is the uh, criticality of having authentic environment. That is first thing that Montessori system should have, which I see there, and I see the impact now after so many years. Uh, Urshita is 10 years old. I guess most of the children here are young, except Tanvi Varni, right? So it was a challenge for us to make a decision to continue with Montessori education, right? Because after 6 years, most of the children will move out to regular school. It was a decision, a conscious decision. We have trusted the process, and I have seen the transition now because I have been asking this question to Nishant, Niti, and earlier Ms. Shalini Rani as well, and everyone. Like, when will these children move to abstract level? Because at some point they have to merge it. I see that happening now. I can see that happening now because I was really concerned about more technical subjects like science or maths. So in maths, recently, instead of we giving her questions, she is now discovering her own questions. How many seconds are there in a year? Now that's something she has discovered and she has figured it out and she has answered. So that's where I think we wanted her to be. So that way, so far, I think we are satisfied. And people who might be considering will have to trust the process. I'll say that's the thing. Yeah, uh, that's it pretty much from my side.
Hi everyone, I am Ruchi. I am Arjun and Anya's mother. Arjun and Anya were at sketches during their primary years, the CASA years, and middle of when they were 6, that's when we decided that we need to move them to a traditional school, apparently experiential school, because of the same pressure that every parent always contemplates, that when is the right time to move to a regular school. From an alternative education standpoint, there's always a question mark in everybody's mind, and trust me when I say that it's a question mark even in the parents at any other regular school. It's a constant contemplation that do we need to continue, what do we do, because the entire attitude shifts. I saw it in my children, that how they were here versus when they moved. Of course, it's a very subjective experience. For me, I saw their attitude shifting. It was all again, the teachers guiding. So they were pretty happy in the other school as well, because all the schools now do a great job at making sure that the children are happy. So they don't, and fun. So there's this association of fun and games with everything. So I'll give you an example that even with the ascending and descending order, they were shown a video of somebody, a 2D animation where somebody climbs up the stairs and comes down, which could have just easily been done at the stairs anywhere, right? Yeah, 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 it could be a real experience. So everything was through a video. And even when the teachers are facilitating, I'm not questioning that the teachers did anything less, but that's how the culture is. The entire ed tech, I don't think any child, so even a newborn can observe parents swiping through the phone, and they know that they have to do something on the screen, right? So it's very easy. Ed tech is, technology is made in a way that the children can pick up at any age, right? Even our parents are able to use WhatsApp and all these social media platforms now. So, but in the classroom, what I saw that it was very superficial. It was getting even more superficial. So after spending 2.5 years, we had to take the decision that we need to send the children back to Montessori and brought them back to sketches. Why? Because All I wanted that they have that enthusiasm to learn, and not an external factor forcing them that you have to do this and you have to complete a certain agenda. And that was driving everything. So uh, another example, that first day of school, they had transitioned from Montessori to that, well adjusted. First day they were given a worksheet to work on, and my daughter finished it, and then she immediately asked that, can I get another one? And the response was, no, you don't have to do more, this is enough. So that day, till they left that school, it's always a question, mama, why do you want us to do more? This is sufficient. And when they ask questions, leading questions on, let's say, a concept on addition, that what is it? So teachers were told that, I think you learned more than your age. So you need to stop and slow down. And then I saw that they started losing their interest in doing something, and staying motivated to do it themselves. Rather, okay, teacher bolengi to hum kar lenge. That was a biggest factor for us, that that's the last thing I want the children to do, is to have somebody tell them to do something, because where we are heading now is about them leading their own, having the skill sets to adapt to any changes, anything that's changing, the situation that's changing outside. With AI, I think lot of things are changing for people who are working in the tech sector as well, right? In the education sector also, a lot of things are changing, but I don't think they need that right now. And learning, so everything is just so fun based, associating, even what do I say, even watching somebody draw on the screen, or sitting outside in nature and observing a field and then drawing it, there's a big difference, right? So more or less, there are lots of examples I can give. I think it'll be endless. I know we are running short of time, so I can connect with anybody who wants to, ask me something specific. And this is one school, I'm not going to take a name. I'm not, it works for a lot of parents. A lot of parents, they feel that, yeah, it's working fine for us. But I saw a lot of gaps in learning. The interdependencies between subjects and topics, that was definitely not there. So children always had that question. And what happens? So if you remember, when we were little, we have a question and the teacher says, "Baith jao. Abhi nahi batayenge," right? We all went through that. The teachers would not want to answer our questions in the class, or they will say that tum zyada smart ho, right? The question stays in our mind, and then we are not able to move on that topic. That's why mathematics always became a big thing for a lot of children, because the questions were never answered. And recently, when they joined, they just came to sketches. Abhi they've come back after a vacation. So the first day they came back and asked me, Mama, do you know why? I mean, why is we call it alphabet? Apparently, somebody, Miss Anjali or Miss Shalini, told them about the story of how this is. They said it's basically alpha and beta. They put it together, so it became alphabet. Little things like that is intriguing for the children. So, that's what the children need, is to stay motivated to learn, and nobody stop them that, okay, this is enough. You can't have more questions. Yeah. Another important reason for us to switch was to move away from bullying. Okay. I'm not saying that the children did not adjust with it. It's not that they did not adjust with it, but I could see the impact it has on the children nowadays. Even when we say that children, and bullying, by that it could be, so school says that you should not bring any fancy things to school. Okay. The school had no uniforms. Children had to wear very, be in very humble setup, carry non-fancy bags and pouches, but there were families who would send children in everything branded top to bottom, and bring in fancy erasers or sharpeners. So one day my daughter, she told me recently of an incident 6 months ago, that children were asking her that, and girls get more impacted by these things. Boys, they don't care. It doesn't matter what's happening, and I have both. My daughter said that, Mama, they told me that you don't have the money, I think, to bring in fancy stuff. See, we got this from Singapore, or we went to the US and we got something like that. And it stayed with her. And then she asked me, why don't we have multiple cars, and why don't you get us fancy stuff? And honestly, I just had to tell her that, do we really need those things? What you really need? So these fancy stuff, they lie there, and this is also bullying, right? In a way, it's bullying because it's playing with the psyche of the child that, okay, this is important, the fancy stuff is important, and if they can afford it, why can't I? And they lose that sense of differentiating between needs and want. Okay. And Niti told me once that, no company is better than bad company. And it just so resonated strongly with me and it stuck with me that I think as far as possible, I would keep them away because as they grow up, we all grew up in different setups and we have all adjusted to different environments, right? So we'll accept the change and we will know to differentiate between right or wrong, but this is definitely not the age.